पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. With the abundant blessings of our Deva, we have been going through Srimad Bhagavad Gita based on Shankara Bhashya interpretation. We went through Shankara's introduction, then we went through chapter 1, and we went through chapter 2, where at the end of the 10th shloka, he gives a detailed introduction to the whole subject. Then we have come up to shloka 59. In this part, which we have covered so far, very important part, this second chapter is virtually a summary of the entire Gita. Bhagavan covers Atma Jnana first, because that is the basis as well as the final destination. Without Jnana, no moksha. And after all, Gita is Moksha Shastra. So, what is Atma Jnana? To distinguish between Atma and Anatma. There is only one Atma, which is there everywhere, at all times, and everything else is false, including our body and mental equipment. So this is Atma Jnana. This you have to bring in your personal experience. That is what Bhagavan said. Then he went on to talk about Swadharma, because when you are living in this world, when you are active, which activities should be performed? That is decided by Swadharma. Common dharma, which is common to everyone, plus Vishesha dharma, which includes Varnashrama dharma. So he mentioned that. After that, he went into Karma Yoga. While performing activities as per Swadharma also, what is the mental attitude one must cultivate? Because our goal is Atma Jnana. So to reach that goal, you don't get entangled in karma. So how to get out of this karma bandha? He explained that. Then Arjuna asked a question, what are the characteristics of a sthita prajna, a jnani? Atma Jnana you have praised so much. What are the characteristics of that Atma Jnani? Now we are into that description. What we have seen so far is Atma Jnani is one who has no desire at all in his mind. That is how it started. Then Bhagavan, in his characteristic way, started explaining how our mind reacts to various circumstances which are faced by us every day, every minute. How the mind reacts and what we should do with the mind. That is where we are. The last 59th shloka, he said, even when the sense organs have been trained to take away their attention from sense objects, even then, that is the taste for the sense objects, there is a remnant of the taste for the sense objects, which is still there, dormant in the mind. That also will go when you have direct experience of Atma Sakshatkara, Rasavarjam Rasopyasya Param Drishtva. The Param Drishtva is Atma Sakshatkara, experiencing the Atma. Once that happens, the taste also will disappear. You will be 100% perfect jnani, he said. Then he goes into further details as to what happens to the mind and how to control the mind. So that is a very basic problem for entire humanity. यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः. Hey Kaunteya, son of Kunti, Vipashchitaha Purushasya. Vipashchitaha means one who is a medhavi, an expert, a scholar, a wise man. Even for him, etat Purushasya Vipashchitaha api. Yatataha, though he makes all his efforts. Yatna comes from yatataha. One who makes tremendous amount of effort. He is already a wise man and he is putting in his best of efforts. Even then, Indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. Indriyani pramathini. The sense organs are very, very powerful. They churn the mind, pramathini. They churn as if the mind. How? Prasabham. Very forcefully, they churn the mind. He has trained the mind such that the mind is sort of taken away completely from the attractions of the sense organs and sense objects. He has done that. Even then, the sense organs do not leave him at peace. They go on churning his mind. Then, manaha haranti, they even go to the extent of stealing the mind. They rob the mind. Rob the mind means what? They rob the mind of the peace which he had cultivated with so much of effort. Yatatohyapi. With so much of effort which he had cultivated, the peace, the withdrawal of the mind from sense objects and sense organs, all that he had trained himself. But all that is gone. Now, when Shankara explains this, Haranti, he says, Prakashameva Pashyataha Viveka Vijnana Yuktam Manaha. The mind was, before this robbing took place, how was the mind he describes? Prakashameva Pashyataha. It was looking only at light, no darkness. Darkness is material infatuation. Light is Atmajnana. So it was immersed in Atmajnana. Viveka Vijnana Yuktam Manaha. It was always immersed permanently in discrimination of Atma and Anatma and that experience. Not only discrimination intellectually, Viveka Vijnana. He has also brought it in. That is why he is Stita Prajna. If you just know intellectually, that is not enough. So Viveka Vijnana Yuktam Manaha Haranti. Even then, the sense organs are so powerful. Uddhava Gita in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a beautiful shloka which talks of this. It says, Yatha mayo sadhu chikitsito nranam punah punah santudati prarohan evam manopakva kashaya karma kuyoginam vidhyati sarvasangam. Uddhava Gita, as you know, is Krishna's advice to Uddhava, similar to Bhagavad Gita, where he talks about various subjects, including Atmajnana and various practical aspects. So there he says, Yatha amayaha asadhu chikitsitaha. You develop a sickness, amayaha. You go to your doctor. The doctor is no good. Asadhu chikitsitaha. You are treated by a doctor who is no good. Then what happens? Punah punah santudati prarohan. The disease comes back again and again. In fact, it increases in intensity, prarohan, because the initial treatment was not up to the mark. So the disease gets further worse. Similarly, evam manopatva kashaya karma kuyoginam vidhyati sarvasangam manaha apakva kashaya karma. That is the significant phrase here. The mind is having still dirt, kashaya, because of past impressions, past vasanas cultivated over so many janmas. So that dirt is still there. The dirt should have been removed by the light that you have brought, by the Atma Jnana that you have brought, but it has not happened in full. Apakva. Food, when it is ready for eating, is pakwa, isn't it? Properly cooked. But this mind is improperly cooked. So apakva kashaya karma kuyoginam. He is not a yogi, he is a kuyogi. Means what? He is not a perfect yogi. He has attempted, no doubt, but he has not achieved perfection. Kuyoginam vidhyati sarvasangam. Why all this happened? Sarvasangam. He went on attaching himself to anything and everything that came his way. He went on attaching himself to anything and everything that came his way. Sarvasangam. That is why, even though he had trained his sense organs, just as the unqualified doctor was no good in treating the disease, similarly, your training was not good enough for removing the dirt in the mind. So that is indirectly what is mentioned here. यततोह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता तानि सर्वाणि इन्द्रियाणि all those sense organs samyamya bringing under full control. Yukta asita matparaha. You have to, he is bringing three concepts here. One is bringing the sense organs under control. Then second is yukta. Always be attached to Atmajnana. Never, not even for a moment, take your eyes off Atmajnana. That is yukta. Matparaha. And not only Atmajnana, you should dedicate yourself to Bhagavan. Matparaha. You should know that Bhagavan is there, the guide, the ultimate destination. Aham Vasudevaha Sarva Pratyakatma Paraha Yasya Saha Matparaha. This is the interpretation. I am Vasudeva, Sarva Pratyakatma. I am the indwelling Atma in every being. Sarva Pratyakatma. Yasya Paraha. He, for the Jnani, I am the most superior, highest. There is nothing higher than me. If he thinks like that, then he is Matparaha. The definition of Matparaha is this. For that Jnani, the highest thought always in his mind is Vasudeva, Sarva Pratyagatma. Asita means he should sit. Sit means what? He should keep his mind at peace. In what way? That also he is explaining. Na anyoham tasmat iti asita. I am no different from that Vasudeva. Anyaha aham tasmat. I am no different from that Vasudeva. With that concept, with keeping Vasudeva as the goal to be attained, and always attached to your Atmajnana. Always attached to Atmajnana means what? Never get deviated from your course. Don't get attracted to sense objects. Though you have done all that, but sense objects are very powerful. So he is repeating it. Vashehi yasya indriyani, for whom the indriyas are under his control, the sense organs are under his control. Because he has samyamya, he has brought them under control. Yukta, he is always attached to Atmajnana and Matparaha. Asya prajna pratisthita, in his case, his consciousness, his everything, his prajna, his knowledge, his consciousness is ever at peace, ever stable. There is no vichalana, there is no shaking. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate. Now this and the next shloka, Bhagavan explains to us the psychology of why this mind gets out of control. He said in shloka number 60, isn't it? Indriyani pramathini haranti prathamam manaha. So, though in 61 he said, yes, he has brought them under control, he is of stable consciousness, etc. Now, He's going back to that old subject, saying, because this is a constantly changing dynamic situation. You think you have done something, you have not done it properly. This is till your last breath, you have to fight your way. So that is why he is saying, he is explaining how the mind gets affected by and loses its course. ध्यायतः विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गः तेषु उपजायते. Vishayan dhyayataha, one who starts thinking of various mundane objects. One who starts thinking of various mundane objects, pumsaha for a man, teshu sangaha upajayate. The more you think, the more attachment it develops. The more you think, how do I do any activity without thinking of an object? Yes, you have to think. But don't think beyond what is necessary. See, this is a very subtle point. Yes, you have to think, no doubt. Think only what is required, to the extent required. Don't go on doing it again and again. The more you think, the more attachment will develop. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. What will happen after attachment develops? It develops into a desire. Because you started thinking of an object, you started thinking of it again and again, then you have developed a desire for it. Now I must get that object. That is totally against what you have trained your mind for. All your Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatam. We started with that. As soon as the desire arises, it gets killed. That is the state of the jnani. But here what happens? You have allowed a new desire to develop because of constant thinking. Matparaha, you have dropped from that high state of Matparaha, having only the thought of Vasudeva. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. Kamate krodhaha abhijayate. From desire comes anger. Why desire should give rise to anger? Very beautifully, Adi Shankara explains that. Kamate kutashchiti pratihatate krodhaha abhijayate. This has been mentioned in several Vedantic texts, even Puranas. Kamate kutashchiti pratihatate. If the desire gets negative, is affected adversely, kutashchiti, from whatever source, from whatever reason, for whatever reason, if the desire does not get fulfilled, it gets affected adversely, krodhaha abhijayate, you get anger develops. The reason why anger develops in mind, he has explained nicely. He started with a very, very important psychological observation. This is quoted extensively by all Vedanta scholars, all Vedanta texts. How desire arises, how desire should be controlled. Kama krodha, we say, isn't it? Even in normal parlance, that fellow has not conquered kama and krodha. What is he talking about? This is what people say, isn't it? So kama and krodha go together. So that is what he is explaining. Because kama leads to krodha when it is obstructed in its course, when the desire is not fulfilled. So, ध्यायत्वानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीतमत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहः स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. Then this shloka completes the process. How the destruction becomes complete. Pranashyati. Look at that. It started in a very minor Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha. It started like that. A man starts thinking of objects. That's all. But he gets destroyed because of this process. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. From anger arises delusion. When you are angry, you do not know what is right and what is wrong. This all of us have experienced, isn't it? You do not know what is dharma and what is adharma. That is sammoha. That is delusion. You cannot distinguish between what is right and what is wrong because you are angry. You are angry at the cause which stopped your achievement, your fulfillment of desire. That is the anger. So that anger has made your mind so confused, so you are deluded as to what is dharma and what is adharma. Sammohat smriti vibhramaha. When delusion takes over the mind, then the mind loses its memory. Smriti vibhramaha. Mind, the memory gets totally confused. Because what is dharma and what is adharma, how do we decide? We decide based on our memory, isn't it? Our mind has got a storehouse of information that is called chitta, antakarana. Antakarana has got four compartments. One is chitta, where the old information is stored. So mind refers to that to know what is dharma and what is adharma. How can it refer when it is totally deluded? So total memory loss takes place because there is no ability to refer to the storehouse of information. Storehouse is there, whatever. Because after the anger disappears, you feel sorry for what you have done. That means what you know what is dharma and what is other. How did the knowledge come all of a sudden? It didn't come all of a sudden. It was there. But because you were deluded, you have lost the sight of that. Smriti vibhramaha, the complete eradication of memory. Spritibhramshat buddhi nashaha. Once memory fails, intellect also gets destroyed. Because what is the difference between manaha and buddhi? Manas is sankalpa vikalpatmaka. Manas is not able to decide between what is right and what is wrong. It refers to chitta, then it knows something about what is dharma and what is adharma. Then buddhi decides, yes, this is dharma, you must do this. So all this process is now completely gone. Smritibhramshat buddhi nashaha, because you don't even know what is dharma and what is adharma, because smriti is gone. Then actually intellect has lost its power of determining what is right and what is wrong. So it is as good as destroyed. Smritibhramshat buddhi nashaha. Buddhi nashat pranachyati. Once intellect is destroyed, the man is destroyed. What does it mean? A man is destroyed. Does he lose his life or something? No. Pranashyati means Purushartha ayogyaha bhavati. He is unfit for Purushartha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha are our Purusharthas. We have to attain Moksha, but we have to follow the path of Dharma, Artha, and Kama. Now, all these four Purusharthas, because Dharma we have lost already, isn't it? Prativibhramaha. So, Dharma is already gone. Then where is the question of Artha, Kama, and Moksha? The first step itself you have lost. So, the Nasha is complete. Pranashyati. Smriti Vibhramaha, our Shankaracharya gives very beautiful interpretation. He says, Shastra Acharya Upadeshahita Samskara Janitayaha Smritehe Bramshaha. What is that memory which has been destroyed? That memory is consisting of teachings of Shastras and teachings of Guru, Acharya. Teachings of Shastra, teachings of Acharya are there stored in the mind, in the Chitta. Not only that, Samskara Janitayaha, you have practiced it all along. Samskara is purification by practice. Samskara is purification. In this context, by practice. So, not only have received the teachings, you have also practiced and purified your mind. Same situation you have faced before, and you have decided what is dharma. It's not something new. But this time somehow anger has taken over. So you have forgotten that. That is what he says. Pritehe bhramshaha. Smriti utpatti nimitta praptav anutpattihi. What is bhramshaha? He is explaining even that word bhramshaha. That is destruction of smriti. What is destruction of smriti? He says, when you need the smriti badly, smriti utpatti nimitta praptav. There is a nimitta, there is a circumstance where you need the smriti badly. That reference to dharma you need badly. Anutpattihi, that is gone, that is not available. When you need Smriti, it is not available. Then what is the use of the Smriti? See, it is like having many files in the office. You need a particular file for a particular reference for disposing of a particular matter. That file is now missing. It is something like that. So, Smriti Utpatti Nimitta Prapto Anutpattihi, that is Smriti Bhramshaha. So, then the destruction is complete. रागद्वेष विमुक्तैस्तु विषयान् इन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादम् अधिगच्छति. Okay, now who gets destroyed? We have seen. Now who goes further up? That is most important for us, isn't it? So that he is describing. रागद्वेष वियुक्तैस्तु विषयान् इन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादम् अधिगच्छति. Who travels upwards in the spiritual path, who towards Atmajnana? Ragadvesha viyuktaihi. Indriyahi. The sense organs are rid of attachment and hate. Ragadvesha. No attachment, no hate. Remember, it's very easy to read and understand. Extremely impossible to practice. Raga Dvesha Viyuktaihi Indriyaihi. The sense organs which are completely detached from attachment and hate. With those indriyas, you do your daily activity. Vishayan Indriyaihi Charanne. Vishayan Charanne. Because you are living your life. At least you have to maintain your body. He is mentioning that. At least you have to maintain your body. For that, you have to deal with some activities. And when you are dealing with activities, you are dealing with material objects, Vishayan Charan. So the sense organs have to, the eye has to see, the ear has to hear, then only you can do your activity, isn't it? So it happens, it continues to happen. But there is no raga and dvesha, no attachment, no expectation, because all this happens when you start expecting. That anger came because you expected something, it didn't happen. Similarly, if you stop expecting, if you stop getting yourself attached to that raga, then there is no question of hating also, because all are seen as forms of Paramatma. Whatever you see around you is Paramatma. There is no question of getting attached or getting detached. Atmavasyaihi vidheyatma. Atmavasyaihi indriyahi. The sense organs are completely under the control of the disciplined mind. Atmavasyaihi. The mind is very disciplined and very nice manner. It controls all the sense organs. Vidheyatma, the mind is ever compliant, ever submissive. It never goes against our goal. The submissive, compliant mind is Vidheyatma. And that is why it is controlling the sense organs, and it never engages in revolt. The mind never engages in revolt. Vidheyatma. It is ever fixed in its pursuit of the goal. Then prasadam adhigacchati. Prasadam means serenity, peace. That is prasadam. The mind is at peace. The man attains peace. His mind is never disturbed. His mind is always at peace because his mind is disciplined and he has disciplined the sense organs. Though he is performing his activities, he is indulging the sense organs in various objects, but no attachment, no hate. Well, sometimes these things may look repetitive, but these are required repetition. Otherwise, you don't understand the danger which is faced by the jnani or even by the aspirant. क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु विषयान् इन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादमधिगच्छति प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्नचेतसो ह्याशु बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते. Okay, you said prasada is attained. The mind is at peace. What is the advantage? Advantage is sarva dukkhanam hanihi asya upajayate. Asya means for this jnani, for this aspirant. Sarva dukkhanam hanihi, the loss, the destruction of all miseries. He doesn't know what is a misery now. He has lost his familiarity with misery. All miseries are gone. Upajayate, that is the benefit. That is what grows in his mind. What grows in his mind? The loss of all the miseries. Sarva dukkhanam. Now, sarva dukkhanam means the three types of dukkha which we have seen before: adhyatmika, adhibhautika, and adhidaivika. You know, it is buddhihi paryavatisthate. Prasanna chetasaha ashu buddhihi paryavatisthate. Prasanna chetasaha. Because he is always happy. Prasanna chetasaha. His mind is ever at peace. And his mind is always happy. Then what happens? Ashu, very quickly, immediately. Buddhihi paryavatisthate. His intellect is completely stable. It never shakes. There is no quaking in his intellect. Now, that he is explaining, Shankara is explaining like this: Buddhihi paryavatisthate. Akashamiva samantat avatisthate. Just as space is all around you, can you say this space is now disturbed by the space adjacent to this? Nothing like that. Space is ever at peace. Space is always there around you. Similarly, your mind will become your. Why it becomes Atmaswarupena eva nishkali bhavati? Because the buddhi and the mind all are in one track, one straight line. What is the straight line? Atma. They are all tuned to the Atma. They are not tuned to any external influences. So since they are tuned to Atma, Atma Swarupena eva nishkali bhavati. So it is stable, no instability. And this happens how? Shastra aviruddheshu avarjaniyeshu yuktaha samacharet. He is bringing the previous sloka's thought when explaining this sloka. He said, Ragadvesha viyuktayastu vishayan indriyaiskaran, we said, isn't it? So he is saying how you should conduct your activities. Because you are still forced to conduct your activities. Shastra aviruddheshu avarjaniyeshu. You restrict your activities, your sense objects, to the bare minimum. Avarjaniyeshu means something which is not avoidable in order to maintain your body, whatever is required. Because we are talking about the highest level of jnana, not about ordinary grihasthas. The highest level of sannyasa is what we are talking about here. So he is not interested in anything other than the bare minimum for maintaining his body. Avarjaniyeshu. Shastra aviruddheshu. Even that, even when he is indulging in activities which are bare minimum, he will never go against the dictates of Shastra. Shastra aviruddheshu. With no conflict with Shastra. He will do his activities, bare minimum, yuktaha, always associated with Atma. That is how he conducts his activities. This Shankara is reminding us to explain what is buddhi paryavadrishtate. नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न च अयुक्तस्य भावना न चाभावयतः शान्तिः अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्. Now the opposite person who has lost his track, the one who has stuck to his track, he has reached his destination. But one who has lost his track, what happens to him? Nasti buddhihi ayuktasya, because he has been saying yuktaha, 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 always attached to your Atma, never lose your Atma Jnana. But this man has lost it. Ayuktaha. He has lost his attachment to the Atma. That means what? He has indulged in sense objects without worrying about whether it is good for his Atma or not. That is the basic thing. Whatever activities he indulges in should be good for Atma, for his spiritual growth. No, he has not done that. Nasti buddhihi, for such person, the intellect does not work. Nasti buddhihi, buddhihi nasti. Nacha yuktasya bhavana. Because he has lost his intellect, his attachment to the Atma got diluted. That is what we saw. Now then what happens? Once it gets diluted, nacha ayuktasya bhavana. Bhavana also is not there. What is bhavana? Atma jnana abhiniveshaha. Bhavana is generally interpreted as emotion. Bhakti bhavana, like that. But here that is not the interpretation. Here the interpretation is, here bhavana means Atma jnana abhiniveshaha. That is attachment with tenacity to Atma jnana. That is what yuktaha means. That is again emphasized here. Because you have detached yourself, your attachment to the Atma Jnana has become loose. So what happened? Nacha abhavayata shantihi, nacha abhavayataha, because bhavana is not there. The attachment, the tenacity to Atma Jnana is lost. Shantihi, na. Peace also is lost. No peace. Mind prasadam adhigacchati. We started with that. Now we have lost that position. Ashantasya kutas Once you have lost the peace, where is the happiness? Because everything is certainly revolving around happiness. Atma Jnana gives you extreme happiness, isn't it? Ananda. Now, he says, why he is saying Ashantasya kutas sukham? He is explaining that, our Adi Shankara. न तृष्णायां सत्यां सुखस्य गन्धमात्रमपि उत्पद्यते. Even the scent of sukha, even the scent of happiness will not be there as long as you have desire in your mind. न तृष्णायां सत्यां सुखस्य गन्धमात्रमपि उत्पद्यते. इन्द्रियाणां हि विषयसेवा तृष्णातः निवृत्तिः या तत् सुखम विषय विषया तृष्णा. Why he is saying it, he is explaining. This sukham, this happiness, will not come as long as there is desire for objects. Vishaya Vishaya Trishna. Vishaya Seva Trishnataha Nivrittihi. You withdraw from the objects, sense objects. The desire for the sense of Trishna means desiring for an object again and again. That is Trishna, actually. Desiring once is bad. Desiring again and again is still worse. So, Vishaya Seva Trishnataha Nivrittihi, that constant desire for objects, you withdraw the sense organs, that is happiness. Now, this fellow has lost it. That is why Ashantasya Kutas Sukham. Prasade Sarva Dukkhanam Hadirasyopadayate Prasanna Chetaso Shyashu Buddhi Paryavatishthate Nasti Buddhirayuktasya न च अयुक्तस्य भावना न च भावयतः शान्तिः अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्. इन्द्रियाणां हि चरतां यन्मनोनुविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावमिवाम्भसि. Once you allow the sense organs to go wherever they like, they run after sense objects, isn't it? And mind follows that. Yan manaha anuvidhiyate. The person whose mind follows the sense organs instead of controlling, mind you. Instead of controlling, the mind has been let loose to follow the sense organs. Charatam, they are running after objects. Charatam is moving about objects. The sense organs or moving about object. The eye wants to see something. It wants to see continuously, again and again. The ear wants to hear something. The tongue wants to taste something. Now these are the various objects which are engaging the sense organs. And the mind is constantly after the sense organs, instead of controlling the sense organs. And manaha anuvidhiyate. Then what happens? Tadasya harate prajnam vayurnavamevamdhasi tat asya prajnam harati. That mind, which has been let loose, robs the consciousness of this man. Sthita prajna, we started with that, isn't it? His consciousness is always present in Atma. What is consciousness? All his antakarana, mind, intellect, everything, always it is based on Atma. The basis is Atma, though he is engaged in activities using his various faculties. But always there is a base in his mind, that is Atma. Now that is prajna. Now that prajna is lost because of this mind allowed to let loose. There is an example. Vayurnavamiva ambhasi. Vayuho navamiva ambhasi. Nava is a boat. Just as a wind takes the boat off its course in waters. Navamiva ambhati. Ambhati in waters. When the boat is going in a particular direction in the waters, there is a strong wind which takes the boat off its course. That is what has happened to this man, because he allowed his mind to run after sense organs. And sense organs are running after objects. So this is a re-emphasis of how the mind is to be controlled. Tasmad yasya mahabaho nigruhitani sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita. Hence, now he is sort of concluding these various thoughts which he brought over, the sort of conclusion he is bringing. Tasmad, because of the various reasons which I have given about the mind and sense organs and sense objects. Yasya indriyani sarvashaha nigrihitani. Mahabhava is an address. O courageous man, powerful arms. Arjuna. Yasya, for whom indriyani, the sense organs, sarvashaha nigrihitani, in all respects are controlled. Nigrihitani means under control. In all respects, at no time, under no circumstance, the sense organ is let loose. In that case, from where it should be controlled? Indriya arthebhyaha, from sense objects. Indriyani, indriya arthebhyaha nigrihitani. Sense organs are controlled or withdrawn from sense objects. They don't run after sense objects. In that case, tasya prajna pratishtita, his consciousness, his wisdom, his knowledge is ever stable. Now, this sort of brings to close the analysis of how the mind works and how the mind should control sense organs, etc. Now he is going further on the same subject to develop it further. Indriyanam hi charatam yan mano no vidhiyate tadasya harati prajna vayurna vamivambhasi tasmad yasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sanisha pashyato munehe. This is a very oft quoted shloka from Bhagavad Gita, very, very deep meaning, very telling meaning, very interesting shloka, which sort of summarizes all that we have seen so far in a very poetic way. He says, Ya sarvabhutanam nisha. let us first understand the direct meaning, then we will go into the hidden meanings. That which is night for all living beings, Nisha is night. That which is night for all living beings, Tasyam Jagarti Samyami, in that night, the Samyami, the man who has brought his mind under control, he is awake, he is fully awake. For all living beings, it is night, they sleep. But this man is fully awake. Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani. That time when all beings are awake, Sanisha Pashyato Muni, that is the night for the Muni, Pashyato Muni, for the Muni who has done Atma Sakshatkara, who has undergone Atma Sakshatkara. Pashyata means seeing, Sakshatkara means seeing direct, face to face. What he has seen? Atma. So that is Pashyato Muni. For him, that is night. Now, what is this night and day business? Night means ignorance. Day means knowledge. Night means darkness. Day means light. So, with that, if you go into the sloka again, Yanesha Sarva Bhutana, that which is darkness, that which is night, that which is ignorance, that which is darkness for all living beings, that is light, that is knowledge for this samyami. Means what? For others, Atma Jnana is not there. They are wallowing in sense experiences. Whereas for this man, sense experience means nothing. It has no existence. He is ever in Atma Sukha. So for him, Atma Sukha is the Jagrana. For these people, Atma Sukha is not there. So that is night for them. Now, Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani, the time when these living beings are awake, they are awake to what? They are awake to sense objects. And he doesn't care for sense objects. That is night for him. Sense objects, which are giving pleasing experiences to ordinary people, do not give any pleasure, do not matter, they don't exist for this Samyami, for the Pashyato Muni. So that is night for him. This is the beautiful hidden meaning. So he says, Tasyam Paramartha Tattva Lakshanayam Ajnana Nidrayaha Prabudhaha Jagarti. Actually, all of us are sleeping. That is what he says, Ya Nisha. The Vedanta says repeatedly, awake, arise. Vivekananda used to say, remember, awake, arise. You are all sleeping. Means what? You are not awake to the reality, to Atma. Awake and realize Atma. That is the meaning. So he says, this is the question of night and day. Tasyam Paramartha Tattva Lakshanayam Ajnana Nidrayaha Prabuddhaha. He is sleeping, as if he is sleeping in Ajnana. In as far as Paramartha Tattva is concerned, Prabuddhaha. Now he has woken up. So he is Jagarti. Jagarti means this. The term Jagarti means this. Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani, when it says, because the Bhutas are ignorant, the ordinary living beings are ignorant, they are wallowing in ignorance, they are enjoying life as if, this is how Shankara explains nicely, they are enjoying sense objects like a man enjoys in dream. A man enjoys in dream. Like in a dream, these people are enjoying sense objects. They don't realize it is a dream. They are thinking it is awake state. They are thinking it is a state of awakening, but they are actually sleeping and dreaming. If you are sleeping, there is no experience. That is why he is bringing the dream here. Because we are saying, na, Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani. That means he is awake. He is awake to sense objects. So that he is really sleeping as far as Atma Jnana is concerned, but he is awake to sense objects. Because the whole world is a dream, all objects are dream, the body is a dream, everything is a dream, everything is false. That he doesn't know. So, yasyam jagrati bhutani, it is like a dream. Now here, in further explanation, though the explanation doesn't directly come from the shloka, Shankara goes into great pains to further explain, saying, when the jnani wants to be careful, he wants to sasyam jagarti samyami, he is always awake to jnana. Na atmavidaha karmani adhikaraha. He has no right to engage in any karma other than just maintaining his body. He has no right, adhikaraha, na karmani adhikaraha. Jnananishthayam eva tasya adhikaraha. His right is there only for being ever established in jnana. That is the only right he has. No right for indulging in actions except for maintaining the body. So, this is a very important point he has brought out regarding the Pashyato Munehe. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham samudramapah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantimapnoti nagamakami. Now, what is the state of this jnani? What is the state of the ajnani? Apuryamanam achala, because we started with desires, isn't it? The whole discussion started with desire, how to control desire. Now he is bringing that aspect once again to say what happens to the desires actually. He is giving an example to make us understand this. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham samudram apaha pravishanti yadvat. He is giving an example. Let us understand the example first. The ocean, samudram, achala pratishtham, it is established in all its glory with no movement. That means what? The waves are moving, but samudra doesn't move. It remains within its boundary and it is glorious. No, no instability. Even though waters are constantly going into that, mind you. Apuryamanam, though waters are falling constantly, the river waters are falling constantly into the ocean. Does the ocean undergo any change because of that? Does the ocean undergo any deviation from its normal position? No. It is same as what it was yesterday. It will be the same tomorrow also. Similarly, this is the example. Like the ocean, which remains stable, unchanging, with large quantities of water draining into the ocean from the rivers, in spite of that. Tadvat, in the same manner. Yam sarve kama pravishanti saha shantim apnoti. That person in whom all desires enter, like the waters entering into the ocean, he is also similar to the ocean. Yes, desires arise, but they subside. Like the water which subsides into the ocean. You cannot go and look for that particular water. Where is that particular Kaveri water? No, we don't know. It gets dissolved. Similarly, all these desires get dissolved. They don't exist anymore in the form of desires. Tadvat kama yam pravishanti. Sarve kama yam pravishanti. Now, Tadvat kama yam pravishanti, he is explaining like this, Shankara. Tadvat kamaha vishaya sannidhau api sarvataha ichha visheshaha yam pravishanti. Desires dissolve in the jnani even when the objects are present in front of him. That is important. When there is no object, there is not a very great thing. Vishaya sannidhav api, even when the object is present in front of him, he has no desire. Sarvataha, in all respects. In all respects. Ichha visheshaha yam pravishanti. All desires dissolve in him. Then, sashantim apnoti. Dissolve in him means what? Atmani eva praliyante. They lose their identity in Atma. Atma is the ultimate object to be desired. So all these small desires go and dissolve into the Atma. Atma is like the ocean, and all these small desires are like the river waters. Atmani eva praliyante. Sashantim apnoti. In that case, he attains peace. Na kama kami. He is emphasizing now. This fellow will never attain peace. Which fellow? Kama kami. The one who is running after desires. Kama kami. One who is running after desires, he will never attain peace, whereas that person in whom all desires empty themselves into the Atma, like water is emptying into the ocean, he will attain peace. This is how Jnani is. It is a kind of repetition, but in a very telling manner. Now, there is a Subhashitam which I wanted to mention. Yes, here it is. This Subhashitam says, Dineshu dana paramaha parakaryadakshaha kshetrajya chintana paro niratas samadho karihesha samstuti paraha pranado gurubhyaha sham sarvada sagala bhoga virakta chittaha. This describes the jnani. Now, whatever we have seen is minimum with reference to the mind. But actually, there are lots of activities for even the jnani, isn't it? How he performs those activities. Sakala bhoga virakta chittaha. His mind is completely dissociated from all enjoyments. No bhoga for him. Dineshu dana paramaha. Whenever he comes across any people who are pitiable, who deserve pity, he gives whatever he can give. Well, if the jnani doesn't possess anything, what can he give? He can give whatever he has. Maybe it is jnana. Maybe it is somebody who has come to him through whom, like our acharyas do. They keep constantly giving dana. How? Through various people who come to him. So similarly, Dineshu dana paramaha parakaryadakshaha. They never have any selfish activity to be done. So they are experts in doing activities only for others. Parakaryadakshaha. Kshetrajya chintana paraha. What are they thinking always? Because we have been saying always they are in Atma Jnana, they are never struck off from that position. We have seen that. So that is what he is saying. Kshetrajya chintana paraha. He is ever engaged in the thought of Kshetrajna. Atma is called Kshetrajna, another name. The body is called Kshetra, and that we are going to see another chapter, Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. Our body is called Kshetra, and Atma is called Kshetrajna, the one who knows the body. Kshetrajna Chintana Paraha, always thinking of Atma. Samadho Nirataha, he is ever in a state of Samadhi, ever in a state of deep attachment to Atma, that is Samadhi. Karhisha Samstiti Paraha, sometimes he starts chanting stotras about Ishvara. Suddenly, change of mood. Karhisha samstuti paraha, pranato gurubhyaha. Sometimes he starts prostrating to gurus. Sometimes he remembers gurus. All this jnana I got from guru. So I will prostrate to him. Guru may not be present, but he will prostrate. Pranato gurubhyaha sam sarvada sakala bhoga virakta chittaha. That is the nature of the jnani. Pranato gurubhyaha. He never forgets his gurus. Because in Advaita, there is one concept which we must remember. Advaita means what? There is no second. There is only one. That is Atma. But even a jnani, when he comes across his guru, when he thinks of his guru, he should not practice Advaita. He should practice Dvaita. Shastra says this. Vedanta says this. With Guru, no Advaita. With all others, Advaita. Means what? All others are Paramatma Swarupa. Guru is also Paramatma Swarupa. He is also Paramatma Swarupa. But he maintains a distance, a distinction between the two forms of Paramatma, that is himself and his Guru. Because Guru is different. Guru is the one who brought him to this state. gave him Atmajnana. So, Pranato Gurubhyaha, that is why he is prostrating to Guru. So, यानिशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः आपूर्यमाणमचलप्रतिष्ठम् समुद्रमाप प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत्कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे सशान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी. We stop with this. There are only two more slokas which we will take up tomorrow morning at 7:30 IST. We stop for today. Any questions?
Everyone can unmute and ask questions if anyone has any questions.
Unmute and turn your video on.
Shri Guru Namaha Swami, just one question I have regarding Sandhya Vandana.
Regarding?
Sandhya Vandana.
Sandhya Vandana.
Yes. So the question is basically, I've been doing Vishnu Sahasranama and then Trishati, and I was also initiated into 16 digits mantra. So I do everything. So I was wondering, is it possible, or is it? I was having this intuition where I can, maybe not do Vishnu Sahasranama or Trishati every day. So just was wondering if you can.
The question is not clear. You said something about Trishati. You said something about Sandhya Vandana. I don't know what you are talking about.
So basically, I was not sure.
The question is not clear.
So the question is that, is it necessary every day to do Vishnu Sahasranama and Trishati along with the 16-digit mantra? Or is it okay
along
to
with what?
Do the 6
along with what?
Shodashi mantra.
Shodasha mantra. You were talking about a Sri Vidya Upasaka. Then why did you start with Sandhya Vandana?
Yeah. Okay. So
okay.
The question,
for a Sri Vidya Upasaka, what are the minimum requirements that you are asking? Now you have to ask your Guru who initiated you into Sri Vidya. He only can answer that question, because it is not correct for others to step in and say, you do this, you don't do this. First of all, anyway, that is not the subject of our discussion.
So Guru is always one. Guru is Amma. So basically, that is why I was asking.
No, you have to ask your Guru who initiated, Diksha Guru. He is the best person to answer that question. Okay. Any other questions? No.
Any more questions?
Yeah.
I don't think so, sir.
Yeah, we close for the day. Namah Parvati Pataye Har Har Mahadeva Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam Govinda Govinda Shri Radharajeshwari Jaya Jaya.
Thank you everyone for joining. We look forward to seeing you again India time, Sunday India time, and Saturday night US time. Thank you. Har Har Shankara, Jai Jai Shankara.